the place, as opposed to the Infinity Saga, which was beautifully constructed. You want to know one of the big differences between the two? Disney Plus. I'm just saying. I think it's maybe a little bit too much bandwidth to really build some. I mean, unless they make a clear delineation between the two. How do you think Marvel can move forward effectively, but still maintain their Disney Plus shows? Because it's hard. But today in this video, we're going to try and pull the MCU back into focus as it enters a brave new world. That's right. It's time for a good old-fashioned MCU theory video. So fun! And I have to tell you, I think I've come up with some really stellar, fantastic videos. It reminds me of the time I called that everyone was going to be Infinity Stone powered. You might recall I made that video very early on and was able to predict that. And I feel pretty confident. I mean, I don't know. I think the MCU feels less structured and like someone's at the head of the wheel than it used to. But I choose to believe that maybe there's still a glimmer of hope in there. And I'm curious to hear your own theories down below. Now, to be fair, a big part of the problem is that we had to switch villains due to outside events. From Kang to Doom. And Avengers Kang Dynasty became Avengers Doomsday. And losing Kang made Quantumania and the Loki series dead ends. They didn't go anywhere all of a sudden. And also, we lost all that time, that sense of building something only for it to crumble. Although they weren't doing too good a job building even before that. Like, for instance, the early Marvel Cosmic Adventures made sense because that was Thanos territory. You're like, you know who's out there? Thanos. And the MCU kept teasing him, at the very least, in end credit sequences. But like, for instance, Multiverse of Madness. Where was Kang? He could have at least been walking around in the background. But I guess it was too early to cast him, just not the same, thought process. So anyway, now we're doing Doom. Get on board. Robert Downey Jr. put out, he's all these things. Robert Downey Jr. put out a Doom Valentine today. I'm like, I don't know if this is going to work out for you, buddy. But, it kind of is starting to make a little bit more sense, especially after you watch this video and you see what I've come up with. Maybe we'll be okay with it. I'm kind of starting to be all right with it if it's done smartly. If it's just a gimmick being like, look, Robert Downey Jr. is back, then I say no. But if it's this really clever, ironic commentary on what's come before and what's happening now, then I might sign on. All right, so Disney Marvel video games and the comics have definitely gotten the Doom memo. Lots more Doom content, although a lot of it not good. I bought the new Doom comic, couldn't read it. It was awful. I mean, maybe because I'm not a big Doom fan. I know some of you will be appalled, but I thought the new Doom comic was so bad. Did anybody else pick it up? What did you think of it? I was like, I should buy it because Doom is coming. And then I was like, I regret buying this. Doom isn't even mentioned at the end of Captain America Brave New World. Instead, the leader just says that the next big threat, and we're all like, Doom, will come from an alternate universe. All right, so we've got one more grounded adventure coming up with Thunderbolts on the 616 Avengers side of things before we switch to Doom territory. But I wonder if that's intentional. Sam and Bucky really seem to be at the heart of this new Avengers. Sam asked to put a new team together, and then Bucky running for Congress. That gives him a real inside track, not just on superheroes, but the government. He's now become an inside man by choice. Although they never told him what they wanted to do in Hydra. He was never in the meetings. All right, he was never in the room where it happens. All right, but now he is. So I wonder if Sam and Bucky might start the new Avengers together. I think that would be a great idea. It would go over very well with fans. I like that idea quite a bit. And perhaps that's what these two movies are doing. Before we, again, as I just said, switch to Doom, right? Doom will begin in earnest, rumored to be teased at the end of the Fantastic Four movie. Of course, Doom is historically one of their main villains. Some would say their main villain in the comics. Kang was also a Fantastic Four villain, which was why he didn't work with Ant-Man. He's the Fantastic Four villain. And then we're going to go right into Avengers Doomsday, followed by Avengers Secret Wars with some kind of Spider-Man movie in between. There's been rumors that Kevin Feige's like pushing it to be another multiverse Spider-Man adventure. And since it's between those two movies, that would make a lot of sense. Although Sony, of course, wants to maybe do a more grounded film. We'll see what Tom Holland picked. Although last time they let Margot Robbie pick between Birds of Prey and Gotham City Sirens, she made the wrong choice. So I wouldn't always leave it up to the actor. Whoever gave him Tom Holland the right to choose. Okay. Although, are there any good choosers right now? It would seem no. Ask us. We'll tell you. Just put a poll on Twitter like James Gunn likes to do. Or maybe James Gunn is a genius. All right, so that's supposed to wrap up the multiverse saga. Finally. Thank goodness. But Kevin Feige then says after that, we're getting the age of the X-Men. Oh, as a major X-Men fan, I'm mighty excited and also very nervous. And what do you know? The MCU just got Adamantium. Oh, this is a big deal. This is a very big deal. The movie didn't make a big deal about it, but make no mistake, it's a huge freaking deal. It's stronger than vibranium, as evidenced by Sidewinder's blade able to cut Sam's suit, which is made, of course, out of vibranium. Way too subtle. I didn't even pick that up until one of you pointed it out to me. I mean, we know Sidewinder briefly stole some adamantium. He wasn't supposed to open it. So when did he get the chance to fashion a blade out of it? In fact, the metal is so new, how would a low-level mercenary even know how to manipulate it? It makes no sense. But yes, he was able to cut Sam's suit. I can't believe there wasn't even a line being like, what's your blade made out of? Or is that adamantium? Oh, shit. All right, but obviously, Canada's Department K will learn how to use it, and use it quite well. But would Canada ever truly do something like that? Maybe they're just so upset over tariffs, they're like, F it, we're gonna go full evil. But anyway, they have shown tremendous conviction when provoked. But the MCU has tried not to villainize any countries because movies and TV shows play and stream everywhere. For instance, the Red Room, no longer associated just with Russia. The Red Room will take anybody. And also, Bucky was brainwashed by Hydra, not Russia. So, who would create the MCU's version of Wolverine? Good old villain America? No, here's my actual guess. Nathaniel Essex, a.k.a. Mr. Sinister. It's so beautiful, I can't stand it. Also, the Fox X-Men movies never got to him, so he would be a special character just for Feige, who already was a big part of the X-Men 97 animated series, perhaps to get you ready for when he shows up in the MCU. Now, here's why I picked him. In the comics, Weapon X's work was based on Sinister's experiments conducting during World War II, when, of course, what else? He worked for the Nazis. And Sinister loves to do medical experiments. He is the MCU's or Marvel's he's Marvel's Dr. Frankenstein, and he could be that for the MCU. As you might recall from X-Men 97, he's obsessed with the Jean Grey Scott Summers genetic combination. He's like, what a combo. He created a Jean Grey clone. He seriously changed the course of Cable's life. And in the comics, in an alternate universe, Age of Apocalypse, he even created his own hotter version of Cable from just DNA. He grew him in a lab. Or some ways, it seems almost on social media, because that's the way he's like such a sexy version of Cable. It's hilarious. All right, so anyway. So turning the mutant Logan into the Wolverine via experimentation would like totally fit with Sinister's MO. And Sinister's Nazi background, coupled with Logan being a soldier himself in many wars, because, you know, he'd have to be a very early mutant. I wonder how they'll fix that. That's interesting. But, you know, he's a soldier. He has that soldier background. And so you know where that puts him in the MCU divisions. It puts him at least with one foot in Captain America world. And that's a great place for Wolverine. I actually love that. So look for the first hints or Wolverine himself to be in the Captain America corner of the MCU. Oh, look! It already happened! Where did Adamantium pop up? Why, it popped up in a Captain America movie. I loves it! It's all starting to maybe hopefully come together if the MCU is even still a shred of what it once was. I gotta tell you, I think, as I said, Wolverine is a very nice fit with that group. But he's also part of another group because they've changed Adamantium to now be from a Celestial. Now, in the comics, Adamantium was in fact man-made, by accident, in fact, and partially from vibranium. Oh, the plot thickens. But it was an unnatural abomination, which fits with how Adamantium has been used throughout Marvel Comics. But now, Adamantium is a natural entity, material that comes from space. Celestials, as you maybe recall, still poorly set up, but anyway, Celestials are the original beings of the universe, making Adamantium as old as the universe itself. Oh boy, that's a huge change for Wolverine. And also, all connects him to the Marvel Cosmic Corner of the MCU. Oh my gosh, can you see where I'm going with this? All right, here we go. So the MCU Wolverine is suddenly shaping up to be an Avengers level character because, as you will recall, a number of Avengers got their powers from Infinity Stones, right? And this puts Wolverine in the same basic category. I mean, he's not fully powered by his his metal skeleton, but it's a big part of his abilities and who he is and defines him. MCU heroes are still mostly cosmic powered, even down to the Fantastic Four, who, of course, not only get their powers from cosmic rays, but there's a rumor going around that Sue Storm is already pregnant when she first gets her powers in the movie, and that's how Franklin gets his powers, from the very same cosmic rays, in fact. What will power Doom? Listen to this. It gets even better! So Doom masters both science and magic. So I now think there's a chance that Doom will be a variant of Tony Stark who's Infinity Stone powered, which is beautifully ironic considering how Tony Stark died. Oh my God! I would love that. Maybe he'll even have a gauntlet. Doom already wears armor. Let's just stick some bling on it. I mean, it's amazing. It's so ironic considering he took out Thanos only to become him. I actually really like it. But at least in all of this, even if you don't love it, at least it would tie everything together. And we wouldn't seem so at sea like we have for the last couple of MCU outings. But what about Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, who is already strongly and extremely popularly established in Deadpool and Wolverine? Well, he's a variant. In fact, with the exception of the TVA, who exist outside of all the multiverse entirely, nobody in Deadpool and Wolverine came from the MCU 616 universe. So while I definitely think there's a very strong chance that Hugh Jackman's Wolverine will return in Secret Wars and perhaps in another Deadpool movie down the line, clearly, because Kevin Feige bothered to create his own version of Adamantium, he's making his own Wolverine, and he's probably going to make his own X-Men as well. Now, Kevin Feige recently said that we're going to see a trickle of X-Men before they show up in earnest for their own saga. So does he mean a last hurrah for Fox's X-Men and Secret Wars? Fans were hoping to see more of the OG X-Men back in Deadpool and Wolverine. And considering how well Deadpool and Wolverine did at the box office, and that the Fox X-Men films were Feige's first Hollywood gig, there's a very good chance that's what he's referring to. I mean, Storm is part of the Thor Corps in Secret Wars. Great opportunity for a Halle Berry cameo. She could definitely reprise that role. Although, the actress who voices Storm and has in the animation did the character in What If. So, we'll see what they decide to do. But I think I'd go for, especially after Wolverine was so well, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine was so well received, I'd give Halle Berry one last hurrah. In fact, most of the OG X-Men actors are ready to go. They look like they can pick up exactly where they left off. Some of us thought the new X-Men, the MCU version of the X-Men, would arrive fully formed from an alternate universe during Secret Wars, much the way that the Fantastic Four are joining the MCU. But then, can everyone do that? It'll seem a little bit like a cheat. So again, though, by introducing his own version of Adamantium, Feige seems to be making it clear that he plans to build his own X-Men from scratch from within the MCU, which lends credibility to the rumors that he's thinking of casting younger actors in the role. Also, think about it. Mutants are hated. And in the comics, that works because they generally stick to their own stories. And in fact, as I've said before, I don't think X-Men and Avengers crossovers really work. The Phoenix saga wasn't actually that good. But in the MCU, they'll be joining a world full of people with powers that are fully accepted and even celebrated. So mutants' powers would have to come from something really bad, something that humanity felt threatened by, right? Perhaps they'll all be celestial powered, like forget the Eternals, we'll just make the X-Men. I think that would be weird. But anyway, I mean, I never would have guessed that Adamantium would start to come from space. Although again, when you have Infinity Stone powered and then Eternals or celestial powered, it kind of makes sense. But perhaps there's some event that spins out of Doomsday and Secret Wars on the level of the snap. I love how they always reference the snap. Like at the beginning of Captain America Brave New World, President Ross is like, half of us disappeared and then came back. And they're like, yeah, that was pretty bad. Events that, touch everybody, not just the superhero community. And this would be one because it would create mutations in the general populace. And I think that would create the MCU mutants and therefore the X-Men. I don't know how they'd explain what happened with Ms. Marvel. Although I'd be fine if they just forgot about that because she doesn't fit with the X-Men either. They've tried to do it in the comics. It just doesn't work. She's an Avenger character. So yeah, still a lot of questions. And I don't think we'll really start to get answers until Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. I think that's what's going to put everything in order, hopefully. What changes do you think Kevin Feige plans to make to the comics based on what he's already done in the MCU? Do you like my theories? What will power Doom? How will our new Wolverine be created? What do you think of the change that he's already made to Adamantium? And what will bring the MCU mutants, do you think, into existence? We have very little to go on, but I think I'm interested to hear your theories, and I really like mine. All right, so share your thoughts down below, subscribe today, and of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.